among the things you'll see on your November ballot is a proposal involving a millage to continue to support Oakland County Parks. But when you see those millages come up on your ballot proposals, sometimes it can be confusing. You want to know how you can get more information, what this is all about. Here to help clear up some of that information and tell you where you can go to learn more about this millage is one of our Oakland County Commissioners for our 4 communities, Marcia Gershenson, with us on the Splash Live. Marcia, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say we have a coach running for Vice President of the United States.
That is the case. Tim Walz, the Democratic nominee for Vice President, a former football coach and state champion himself over in the state of Minnesota. But close to home here in the greater West Bloomfield area and across Oakland County, a Parks millage is on the ballot for Oakland County Parks coming up. Give us a little bit of the background on this millage and what is being sought by Oakland County Parks from the public.
I will for sure. Remind me at the end, I do want to give a shout out to the West Bloomfield High School coaches who have had such an impact on so many of our players that are now playing for college ball. But anyway, back to the millage. We have a millage that was introduced a few years ago that's been amazing. And one of the things that we've learned during COVID is that people went to our parks, and our parks were not in the best shape they should have been in. And that's because, and this is a little insider information because I was around 10 years ago, we had a Parks Commission that was very reluctant to put a millage on the ballot. You know, some people think government should be repairing things or maintaining things without really thinking about, well, where's that money going to come from that they can do that with? And that's where a millage comes in. So we had a new administration, and our Board of Commissioners hired a new chief of parks, Chris Ward. And Chris did an in-depth analysis of all the parks and found out the parks really needed work. And we had been talking about this for 20, 30 years at the commission. And just to explain the infrastructure, I'm on the Board of Commissioners. I'm not a park commissioner. But we do appoint, the Board of Commissioners does appoint parks commissioners, but they run their own budget and they run the parks. Now they do have to come to the board for approval, and the board had to agree to put this millage proposal on the ballot. And that's all the board agrees to, is to put it on the ballot. And we leave it up to the residents to decide if they want to support a different millage.
Right. And that's an important detail in this, is that this millage, should the public vote in the affirmative, would replace the current 0.35 mils to a new 0.65 millage, which would generate approximately $24 million a year for Oakland County Parks over the next 20 years, with that expiring in 2043. That is according to this ballot proposal. Now, Commissioner Gershenson, if this within this proposal, that's a lot of money that would be going toward Oakland County Parks in this case. You mentioned that Chris Ward and the team at Oakland County Parks wanted to put this millage forward for a number of different improvements that they believe need to be made for the parks. Could you give us a list of some of those that they are hoping to potentially be able to address if with this potential millage?
Well, I think one of the reasons that we're having this conversation is because I attended an opening at Arrowhead Park, which is in West Bloomfield, where they had just opened up 2 new bathrooms. Maybe bathrooms don't seem super important to everyone, but for hikers and walkers and bikers, having bathrooms is a big deal. And so when I went to this park, I was flabbergasted by how beautiful the bathrooms were, but also I learned that that park is a connector from South Haven all the way to the west all the way to the east, Port Huron. There's actually a trail that goes all the way across our state, and it runs through that park. That park is gorgeous, and I highly recommend people go there. But another thing that'll come from the millage is free attendance. We do have free attendance at certain parks, but there will be free attendance at many of the Oakland County parks. Um, all the amenities will be updated, and that's things like roofs and the actual trails, so that they'll be walkable or bike or able to ride a bike. They'll also all be handicap accessible so that everyone can use the parks. There are nature preserves and picnic areas. We also reach out to the schools to have summer camp programs and field trips. Another really important piece of this is that there are parks that are owned and run by local communities. For instance, Oak Park, um, Southfield, they have their own parks. They're not county parks. Many of those communities have not been able to keep up with the maintenance of those parks because of the expense. So one of the things we've done in this last millage is that we've partnered with several of these communities, Pontiac, Oak Park, Southfield, and we've taken some leadership on running the parks and certainly funding the parks. So this is money that will only go to the parks. And I want to answer one other question that has been
Sure.
raised. Why a 20-year millage? Um, Most millages are 10 years. Well, this is a little complicated for me to understand, so I hope I can explain it well,
Sure.
or
Go
you
ahead.
ask me questions. When you are about to do a major renovation in a park and it's several $1 million, a lot of communities and government agencies go out and they bond so that they don't have to come out with the cash out of their pocket right away. They can bond for
Mhm.
that expense. You cannot bond unless you have a 20-year millage. So it's more a practical matter that
Ah,
gives the county the ability to bond some of these projects. Because let's say we've got $200 million worth of repairs that we want to do, but we do not have the cash to lay out that money. So that 20-year bond will give us the freedom to bond that and get those repairs done.
and let's not make any
Is that
mistake. Our
that
Oakland
clear?
County parks are in fantastic shape overall as it is. They're a great amenity that it's appreciated by not only Greater West Bloomfield but all of our surrounding communities across the area. But no, this is an important issue for Oakland County Parks. It's on the ballot, which means it's an important issue for our voters. So Commissioner Gershenson, who joins us, Marcia Gershenson from the 11th District on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, if voters are looking for more information, they want to read more into this, they want to see more details on what's being proposed here, where can they get more resources so they can make an informed decision when they go to the ballots or when they turn in their ballots for this upcoming election?
Sure. We have the Parks Commission has sent out mailings to every resident in Oakland County, but you can go to oakgov.com and go to the parks um, icon, and they have all the information. You can also call me. Um, I wanted to just add that I'm an avid kayaker, love to kayak, and the new what we've done in some of the parks that have water is that we've actually put in a rental machine where if you don't have a kayak but you want a kayak, you can go to some of these parks. And one is in Pontiac, and this is the new one where there's a machine that you can rent one for however long you do. So that was an exciting um, addition. So anyway, questions really can go to me. They can go to the website, and we're happy to answer any. By the way, your West Bloomfield Parks Commission is exemplary. Not every community is lucky enough to have one. And you've got some park commissioners, I believe, on the ballot too, and they do a great job.
They absolutely do. Our friends over at West Bloomfield Parks, lauded by all four of our communities. They are based in West Bloomfield. They work for West Bloomfield, but inviting to all four of our communities. And you know what? You got to give a shout out too to the great work that's being done by Sylvan Lake and Kegel Harbor Parks and Recreation, also in their tight knit communities, expanding out to our four communities as well. We really are blessed with great parks here in Greater West Bloomfield, and that expands out to Oakland County. Commissioner Gershenson, appreciate your time as we help our voters make an informed decision coming up in November regarding this millage and other issues. Thank you so much. Any last insights?
Well, thank you for having me anytime.